Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Carolina Hurricanes franchise mode. So, in last episode, basically we had the off season, and we kind of ran into a bit of a problem near the end with our terms of depth players, because two of them are listed as fourth liners and one as a third line checking forward. I decided to put Aston Reese in it instead of Joel Armia just because he's got the better defensive stats. As you can see, he's got 82 defensive awareness. His faceoffs are better than Armia's as well, and that's why I kept him over Armia. And then, as you can see in the scratched, is McGinn, Soshnikov, and Armia. So we are going to be flipping away Armia and McGinn. And Soshnikov, I'm going to be keeping as a depth guy, even though he's a fourth liner, just for extra insurance. But yeah, we're going to make two trades, and then we're also going to sign a guy in free agency because he is still available and he could help us out, I think, as a depth defenseman. So we'll do that signing first. So the guy I'm going to sign for a depth-wise is Dylan DeMello. The reason we're going to bring in Dylan DeMello is because look at his defensive stats. It's not that bad, 3.5 stars, but that 89 shot blocking is what really catches my eye about his defensive stats. So we're going to bring him in. He doesn't even want that much money, so 1 year at $700K. We might as well just give him a bit more just to make sure he signs with us. $800K, there you go, Dylan DeMello. So he should sign by the end of the preseason or in a couple days. And what else was it? Oh yes, the trades. So there's a couple trades we're going to make. These trades are just going to be for more depth guys. So the first one, we are going to be sending Joel Armia to the Minnesota Wild because they actually want Armia, I think, or no, they actually don't, but we're still going to trade Armia there anyways. Or maybe they did. Yeah, they did actually want Armia, so that's good. And we are going to bring back, who was it? I think it was Bunieves. If you guys knew Bunieves, he's currently listed as a depth forward. He's 78 overall, so he could be a solid depth guy. Most guys that are in their 70s are already listed as fourth liners, so this is a pretty decent deal. And as you can see, the value looks pretty even, I'd say, so I think this should go through. And then also Minnesota could just barely afford him, so this should go through, and it is accepted. So we could have probably got maybe a pick back as well, but welcome aboard, Bunieves from the Minnesota Wild. And then the second trade we're going to make is we're going to be sending away Brock McGinn, who is a left winger. We're going to be sending him just to the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for a 4th round pick, if they will give us their 4th. Just because we need to get rid of him as well, because McGinn's not really that much of anything anyways. So we'll take a 4th back for him, and that should go through. And it's rejected, so we might not be able to get a 4th. We might have to sell for a 5th or a 6th. Let's try a 5th. Because it seems like the 4th, 5th, and 6th always have the same amount of trade value. So let's see. Still rejected. So I guess we're going to get back a 6th, which is okay. It's more depth draft picks that we could just throw into a bigger trade if we need to. Or if we could get somebody, that would be fine. So there you go. We got a 6th round pick for Brock McGinn. So now our lines should be almost pretty much set. We just need to wait on the signing of Dylan DeMello. So let's start up the preseason signings, or not signings, the preseason simulation. We should get him before to start. Yeah, but Dylan DeMello has signed with us. So now let's just take a look at our roster quickly. I'm going to try and get most of the season done in this episode, well, all the way up to the deadline. Next episode is going to be pre-recorded, and it's going to be like that probably for the rest of the month, where I have pre-recorded episodes on the Friday just because my dad is off on Fridays, so it just makes it easier that way. And I don't know why Bunieves dropped all the way to a 76 just because I signed him or traded for him, but whatever, that's okay. And we will call up, because I think he's probably assigned to the minors. Yeah, we're going to call up Dylan DeMello. I'm going to leave McCowan down there just for another year. And also Nedeljkovic is going to stay down there for another year. He is on our trading block as well, just because I don't think I want to keep him around. I know he's a good goaltender sometimes, but we might not keep him around. So now our depth guys, as you can see, Soshnikov, who could replace anybody that's a winger injury. Bunieves could replace any center injury, and Dylan DeMello could play depth defenseman. So we are all stacked up and ready to go for the season. Hopefully it is a pretty good one. We are currently listed as hopeful, so we might not even make the playoffs with this solid roster, but I feel like we can. If not, we could probably get a pretty decent pick. So let's get the preseason done, see how we do. So we started off with 2 wins, 3 wins. Scouting assignment, but then again we have our actual roster out there against young guys that aren't on the actual rosters for teams. So loss against the Flyers game. Yeah, we've won every single game except for game against the Flyers, the game against the Caps, and that's it. So we go 5-2. Pretty solid record. So Aho led the way. Okay, not too bad. 6.7 games. So now let's start up our season simulation for the 3rd season. Our first game is up against the Winnipeg Jets on home ice. Okay. So let's go 1 month at a time. We're going to try and get to the trade deadline in this episode. And then I'm going to do the trade deadline and all that stuff in the next episode. Like I said, it's going to be all pre-recorded. So we started off with 2 shootout wins and 2 losses. Make that 3 losses. So not the greatest start so far. We're winning our only games in shootouts right now, it seems like. So we can only win shootout games. We can't win in overtime. We can't win in regulation. There's one actually, now that I speak of it, against the Colorado Avalanche. Game against St. Louis is another win. Nicely done. Okay, pretty decent first month here. We're actually on a winning streak now too. Oh yeah, I put Brett Pesce on the block, but I don't want Andrew Shaw. I have no use for him. I put Pesce on the block just because we are struggling to find ice time for him, and then also we have probably some like guys that might grow into that top 6 role better than Pesce, because Pesce's listed as a top 4. So we went 8-5 in our first month, pretty solid, which puts us where in our division, 4th best in the division. Actually almost tied for 1st, pretty decent. And Falk 13 points in 13 games, maybe a Norris Trophy winning season for him. He is on his last year of his contract too, which kind of sucks because we're going to have to re-sign him this year if we want to. Or we might have to flip him away at the draft or something. Well, we might not be able to flip him away unless we offer him a contract extension. But I might want to bring him back for 1 year or something. So we'll continue to scout. Actually, the WHL was pretty deep. I don't even know why I just scouted. You know what? Actually, let's go to the OHL. 6 weeks for forwards. Let's just keep scouting in Canada for now. And now we have lost 2 games to start off November. Not that good. Brock Nelson, no thank you. Kind of interesting because I actually traded Brock Nelson to Carolina in my Islanders gym mode way back in NHL 17. Yeah, this month is really bad so far. We've only won 1 game. Make that 2 actually in a row now. Okay, now we're going to go on a winning streak. 3 in a row. 4 in a row. And it's ended by the Bruins. And there's a win over the Caps. Games against Florida, loss, and did we even find out this one? Probably. It's going slow. All of a sudden, there you go. And that one was a shootout loss. So we are 13-11-2 at December the 1st. Still pretty solid. Let's take an updated look at our player stats. So Falk's still leading away with 23 points in 26 games. Not too bad. He actually is an 87, so I think it was just the preseason that had him bumped up to an 88. Aho, 23 points as well. Skinner, 21 points. Rask, 20 points. Teravainen, 15 points. So on like that. Aston Reese has got 12 points, but he's a -5. Yeah, we're not getting production on some players, but it's okay. We have to make sure some of our youngsters aren't growing. Louis Ryanen's got 3 points. Gauthier has got 2 points. Jake Bean's only got 2 goals as well, but he's up to a 78 now. So he is growing. That is good. And Pesce, probably not liking his ice time, I'd assume. Yeah. See, it's Brett Pesce that's... I don't know what we want to do with Pesce. because he's got 5 years left. I want to get rid of him. So yeah, we got a lot of minus players currently, so our lines might need to be flipped around. I don't mind tanking for another year. So Pickard's been pretty solid. He's not had the greatest save percentage and goals against, but he's gotten us wins. And Mrazic's having a pretty rough year so far. So let's just continue the simulation all the way up to the trade deadline, I think now. We still can make the playoffs easily, but the thing is, if we fall down and we're like the bottom of the division, I don't mind that either, because like I said, I don't mind having a chance at a potential first overall pick, because we are still kind of a bit of a rebuilder. Like, I don't think we're going to be a playoff team this year necessarily, but we could technically go far. And we've won 4 of the 5 in December so far. There's a loss against the Edmonton Oilers. And scouting assignment. Let's send out the scout to the QMJHL. Why not? Minnesota, there's a 5-1 win. Nicely done. There's OT loss. So we're still getting points actually this month, so that's helping us out probably in our standings. And we're getting offered a second-round pick for Nedeljkovic. Now, the thing is, I don't have a AHL goaltender that could replace him at the moment, because I don't think Ulanov's ready. Like, Nedeljkovic, even though he's listed as a backup, like, I would do this in the off-season more, not during the regular season, trading him away. Because I don't think Ulanov's ready. If Ulanov's ready, I could always give him a contract. He's a 65, and he's not 100% ready just yet. I'm going to leave this deal for now, but we might just have to release Nedeljkovic in the off-season or sign him and then flip him for just a pick or something. Okay, so yeah, it's been a pretty solid month, and we are now 21-15-3. So that's actually a pretty solid record. AHL team is not playing the greatest so far. Okay, so we are 4th in our division, only 3 points above the last, the team that's out of there, which is the Islanders. Pittsburgh and Washington both falling off, probably because, well, Crosby and Ovechkin haven't even retired yet. I don't even know what they lost then. Okay, so yeah, we won't check player stats and all that stuff yet. We'll continue to the deadline, and then we will check that stuff. Okay, so let's see if our luck continues this month. There we go, 2-1 in this month. Not too bad so far. Yeah, our team is coming together now. We might be actually able to make the playoffs this year. So we're getting offered Jordan Eberle, a 4th and a 5th for our first next year, I think it is, and Brett Pesce. I don't like that Eberle has 3 years left, because he's probably 29, 30 by now. I don't even know. Like, I'll flip Pesce maybe in the off season, because right now he's being solid, even though he's probably dropping. James Van Riemsdyk for a 1st, and Pesce, no thank you. Even though he's got 1 year left, I don't have any place where I could really place him in our lineup without scratching a youngster. So we've lost 2 in a row now. Don't go on a losing streak now, boys, because if we're going to try and make the playoffs, we better actually make the playoffs, not just finish outside of it. Might as well scout Sweden. Game against the Ducks. There's another win. Nicely done, guys. And Columbus is a loss. So 28-19-4 at February 1st. Good. Let's just take an updated look at the standings. Where are we? We're actually almost second best in our division. The last wildcard spot has 59 points though, so we gotta just keep it up and keep winning games. So let's go all the way up to the deadline and see where we're sitting, and then if we are a playoff team, maybe we will make some moves in the next episode to help us out for a playoff run, or we might just get all the season done in this episode. Because like I said, the next couple episodes are all going to be pre-recorded ones. So Kevin BX said no, thank you. He's got 3 years left. That's way too long. Yakupov, that's interesting, but I don't think I have the use for him. Like, I'd have to scratch one of the youngsters, like Gauthier or something. Yeah, that would be a nice pickup, but like I said, I don't have the room for him in forward-wise. We are actually playing really good defensively, it looks like, the last little while. We've only allowed in 2 goals in the last 4 games. A second round pick for Pesci and a 5th. Well, I'm not actually going to flip Pesci just yet, I think, because the team seems to be producing with him, so I might as well keep him around for now. Yeah, we are playing really good. 34, 20, and 4. A lot of regulation losses, but a lot of wins as well. Ryan Spooner. What do we have for centers? I don't think we have 4 centers. Let's see. When you're left at 2.905. What is their center core even like currently? I think we have Tara Vinen as our number 1 center, though, even though he's not a center. I'm just going to leave this again. It makes no sense to make one of those moves. Like, I'd have to scratch one of my youngsters, and I don't want to do that. Yakupov and Conley, no thanks. A second round pick. Last 3 games before the deadline. Corey Crawford. I already got my starting goaltender in my backup. I have no use for an actual goaltender right now. Cody Eakin, that would be a good defensive piece, but we are winning games right now. 37, 20, and 4. Backlund, that's also a pretty solid piece to bring in, but like I said, I have no use for him because I want to play my youngsters right now, like Nicholas Wall. I don't want to scratch him. And there's another loss. So we are 37, 21, and 4 at the deadline. Wow. Wasn't expecting that good of a record, but it's probably one of the top 2 teams in our division. No, actually, wow. We're 5 points above the last wildcard spot, but looks like a lot of teams picked it up during the last couple months because we're still only 18 points above the last spot in our division, or the last place in our division. So let's take a look at our player stats so far. I think I might get this episode or the season done in this episode, so I might continue simulating after this. So it looks like a lot of players finished their plus minus, and a lot of players picked it up. Like Logan Brown has got 40 points now. Aston Reese has got 32. Yeah, it looks like a lot of players picked it up. Jake Bean's got 8 points, 7 goals, and he's up to an 80 overall now. See, that's why I kept him as started playing him as a depth defenseman, and now he's listed as a top 6. Plus minus, let's see, we still got a lot of minus players. Like, the youngsters are actually really badly minused, but we got to keep them playing, so hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us in terms of the playoffs. And in goaltending-wise, Mrazek has definitely picked it up. Yeah, he's definitely fixed himself. And Pickard kind of still stumbling around. So that is that. Let's just continue the simulation, I think, because I don't think I'm going to make any moves here at the deadline, because I don't want to scratch any of those youngsters, even though they are hurting our plus minus and stuff like that. Because it looks like we should be a playoff team if we could just play good this last month. So this episode will be longer than 20 minutes. I will tell you that. So let's see if we could continue playing good here. And of course we're going to lose 2 in a row. There's a win though, and another win. Come on guys, we got to just get at least half the wins in this month, because I want to make the playoffs now. Since we are playing so good, we need to win games and hold on to either the wildcard spot or move up in the standings. So let's scout Russia. OT loss and a normal loss. Come on, boys. If we at least get to like 50 wins, we should be good. There's another win. There's a lot of losses this month, but there's also some wins. So 43, 27, and 5. The simulation is going way too quick, but yeah, I think we are going to make the playoffs. 46, 27, and 5. And our AHL team currently fixed their record as well. They're 41, 31, and 7. Did we clinch the playoff spot yet? Yes, we did. Nice. So we are actually going to be making the playoffs for the second time in 3 years without even getting a really good top 10 draft pick. So Ulanov is going to come into a team that might have a chance to win a cup potentially this year, if Mrazek could carry us. So 48, 29, and 5 we finish. So that is a pretty solid record. I think it's probably one of our best yet, other than year number 1. Falk had 60 points. Let's take a look at the player stats and all that stuff. AHL team did not make the playoffs, unfortunately. So in the entire league, we finished 6th best with 101 points, 48, 29, and 5. Our goals for per game was one of the best, actually. Like top 10, it looks like 2.8 goals against our goals for per game. Our goals against was getting better, actually. It was top 15, I'd say, to 2.55. And our power play, 18.4%. Not the greatest, actually. Was halfway between being the best and the worst. And then our penalty kill, wow, our penalty kill looked like it was one of the best. Yeah, we had a really, really good penalty kill. 4th best penalty kill this season, so that helped us out a lot too. Our record on home ice wasn't that good, 21, 18, and 2, but we played really good on the road, going 27, 11, and 3. Pretty good season all around. Let's take a look at the player stats for the final bit of this. And then we will also see who we're up against in the first round. So Falk 60 points, Rask 58 points, Skinner 55, Aho 55, Brown 52, Teravainen 50, Hannafin 47. Nice, so that top 2 pairing's been playing really well. Aston Reese 41 points on that third line, and he's up to an 80 now. Probably statistical growth. Adrian Kempe 40 points, pretty solid for an 81 overall. 38 points for Lindholm, Kapanen 29 points, Fleury 27 points, Slavin 24 points, Watt 18 points in his rookie season, up to a 79. Luostarinen 16 points, still a 78. Pesci 11 points, Jake Bean 10 points, Gauthier 9 points. So everybody produced. We didn't even have to use our depth guys, but that's okay, because what happens if we have an injury in the playoffs? Goaltending wise, Mrazek went 36, 23, and 3 with 8 shutouts, a 916 save percentage, and a 2.42 goals against average, while Pickard went 12, 10, and 2 with 1 shutout, a 917 save percentage, and 2.56 goals against average. So definitely a really good season for us. Now let's also check the AHL quickly, even though they did not make the playoffs. So Kukkonen led the way with 60 points. Okay, how about Nick Cass, 50 points? And he's up to a 76, so he might be actually an NHL player by next season. So we might have to move out like somebody on our center core. Okay. Foegele, 41 points. Martin, 32 points. Oh, he had 100 penalty minutes. Yeah, he's probably going to be like a top 6 D-man by next season as well, so we might have to get rid of Pesci in the off-season. Roland McCowan, 24 points, okay. And nobody else. What about goaltending? Nedeljkovic, still 78, but he had a really good season. And LaFontaine also is growing really well, so we might have to flip away some of these goaltending prospects, because unless we want to use one as a backup. Because like I said, I want to play Ulnov once Ulnov's ready. Okay, so that's that. Now let's see who we're up against in the first round of the playoffs. Hopefully it is a team that we could easily get by. So far in past playoffs, we've played Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and Tampa Bay. So who are we going to get up against in this first round? It is going to be the New Jersey Devils. Okay, that's interesting. New Jersey's made it back to the playoffs. Let's take a look at their lines. Hopefully it is nothing too scary. I know there's obviously Hishe and Taylor Hall and stuff like that. So, okay, so yeah, the top line it's not the scariest. Taylor Hall and Hishe are really good, but Palmieri's really weak for the first line, 84. Second line is actually kind of weak too. Jesper Bratt, 80 overall. Henrik Zetterberg, who's now an 82 and dropping off a lot. And Pavel Zacha, 82. Third line, Roussel, Smith, and Wood. So that's a pretty solid defensive line, actually. And in the fourth line, you got Tyler Bertuzzi with Brian Boyle and Michael McLeod. So yeah, the forward core is not the scariest. Defensively, though, oh yeah, I forgot that they had Erik Karlsson. I guess they signed him in free agency or something. But they got Carlson with Will Butcher, so that's a deadly top two, obviously, because Carlson's a really good offensive defenseman, and Butcher's still young. Then you got Marco Mueller and Damon Severson, and then you got Sammy Vatanen and John Moore. So the defensive core is actually way better than their forward core. And then their goaltending is really good for starting wise, but Mackenzie Blackwood is a bit of a weak backup. And then they have scratch. They have Travis Zajac and our former player Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Interesting. Who seem to be dropping off because of ice time. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Carolina Hurricanes franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take on the New Jersey Devils in the first round of the playoffs and maybe look to get to our first Stanley Cup Finals. Well, we're kind of getting way ahead of ourselves, but let's see if we could get to that conference finals again, just like what we did a couple of years ago. So thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time.